This podcast was inspired by an internship with the Museum of Motherhood. Please visit mommuseum.org for more information about the museum, to find out how you can get involved, and to help us strengthen our wonderful community of mothers. Again, that is mommuseum.org. Thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Bethany.
And I'm Amanda.
And we're sisters.
We are both toddler moms, but we have very different experiences of motherhood.
So, we are on a mission to talk to different moms who all have different experiences.
With a whole lot of laughter, tears, and probably coffee, we embark on a journey to experience motherhood through the eyes of others.
Please join us on this journey as we explore motherhood through funny, loving, and very real memories.
This is Mom Talks with my sister.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, you're there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Welcome back to Mom Talks with my sister.
Mine too.
I love it. It's like we have so much in common.
I know. And, today was a day that we actually spent together.
We did spend today together, and it was amazing in so many different ways.
So many different ways. And amazing is one of those adjectives that can be amazingly good or amazingly frustrating.
Or amazingly like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is life? Please.
What is life? I think what we should do, because our mom moment of the week, I think we both have mom moments of the week that may or may not be from today's experiences. So yeah. I think we should just jump right in, and I think you should start.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going chronologically, my moment started this morning, and Amanda, you actually received a text message that this is going to be my mom moment.
Yes, I did. So, I said, okay, I'm ready for it.
So I work at a college, and they do an employee appreciation day every year for us. And it's really great. Like when they do employee appreciation, like they do employee appreciation. And this year they sent us to a local amusement park, and I was so excited. So we got 4 free tickets, and then you could purchase extra tickets if you needed to, depending on the size of, your family and who you wanted to invite. And I invited Amanda and her daughter, obviously. So I had been looking forward to this all summer. I think that they, let us know probably 2 months ago that this was what they were doing for us. And we're ready. We have a plan, and everything's going to be great. So my husband and I took the whole day off work, and we were just going to do a family day. And we were going to meet up with Amanda and her daughter, and we didn't invite her husband. I don't know why. I guess we just did it. We were like, Amanda, do you want to come?
Well, to be fair, you only got 5 tickets, and we did not know that the kids were going to be free. So right. he could have come, but anyways,
he could have come. We could have bought him one. But
we're just not
the whole entire day. But I will say this is important, because the whole entire day I felt horrible that we didn't think to just have him come too, because he should have been there. Like it was also your daughter's first amusement park experience, if I'm not mistaken. So
it was. That's okay though.
I'm really sorry about that. But anyway, so
we'll forgive you.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
So I'm just kidding. It's fine.
So we wake up and we're like, we're going to have a great day. It's going to be so much fun. No. My son woke up, not even on the wrong side of the bed. I think he woke up in someone else's bed. And it was just from the moment he got out of bed, he is hitting those terrible twos. Like he turned 2, and there was just a switch that flipped in his brain that was like, yep, terrible on. And he's throwing himself around, and he's screaming, and he's throwing things, and he's just not cooperating. But one moment he'd be like this lovey-dovey little snuggle bug, and then the next moment he was like Tasmanian devil. And I just lost it. I was like, I don't right now, I don't want him here. Like, I want to send him to daycare. And that I felt in that moment awful for even thinking like we should have just taken him to daycare and picked him up before we went.
It's an honest thought though, right? I mean, and that's why I think we're doing this podcast, is because we're talking about real mom life and real mom thoughts and saying the things that maybe other people aren't going to say.
Right. Right. And like,
And
that was the thing. And that was the thing. It was just like, obviously, like it wasn't extreme to the point where like, I don't want to be a mom anymore, but it was like, I want to take him to daycare. I don't want him in the house. Like, I want time to myself, but it wasn't that, I don't want to be a mom anymore. Like, I hate my kid. I hate my life. It wasn't that serious, but I had this like hour where I was just regretting that I didn't take him to daycare for a half a day. And then after like my frustration and my anger and everything settled, like then I started having that guilt of why in the world would I think that? Like why would I ever have a moment where I didn't want my kid around? And that was really, that's something that is hard to handle because you then start being hard on yourself and am I a bad mom? Like, is he going to know that I'm having these feelings? Like, I don't want to project this onto him, et cetera, et cetera. But like you said, like, I think it's important to share situations like this specifically because I feel like a lot of people have moments like this and they may not want to say it out loud and they may not talk to people about it. And then they're going to feel alone and then they're going to feel like horrible people for having that thought. And we moved on past it and we were like, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to have a great day at this amusement park. It's going to be your first time. You're going to go on the rides. You're going to love it. It's going to be so much fun. And then we got there and it stormed and we got soaking wet and we couldn't go on the rides. And then he was losing his mind and he's running in circles around this pavilion. And I'm just like, we're going to the car. We're going to just sit this one out. And we went to the car. And this is when I started to feel really awful because I just like left you and your daughter in the pavilion. I mean, it's not like there was nothing to do. The college had a live band and they had food and it was great. And they were covered. But I'm like, oh my God, like I left Amanda and her daughter alone. And now I'm just sitting in the car with my boys. And like, oh, it was just like an very emotional morning. And then once the sun came out, I don't think the sun ever came out, but it stopped raining. We met back up and we did the best we could.
Mm-hmm.
But the day ended much like it began. So it's okay. Tomorrow's
so you had
a new
day. Yes,
you
had a day. And you know what, though? It's one of those things that like, you got to get the bad out to appreciate when the good things happen, or even when like the very like even like keeled, monotoned, just mundane days happen. You appreciate those even more after having a day like today.
Yeah,
it was just
absolutely.
it was a tough day.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be fun, and not for nothing. It's kind of like when it rains on your wedding day, which I can attest to, because it's like you have this like excitement built up for something that you're really excited about, and you have these expectations of it's going to go so well and things are going to be great and the sun is going to be shining and it's going to be wonderful for everybody involved, and it literally or figuratively rains, and your expectations of where you wanted the day to be have just kind of just shot down, and it kind of just brings you down just as a person, whether you're talking about something with your kid or anything else going on in your life that you're like looking forward to, and then it just doesn't go as you wanted it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that was a big thing because when I was sitting there in the car waiting for this rain to pass, and it wasn't just like a drizzle, it was like it was raining. It was coming in sideways, and it was so loud, like he couldn't even take a nap because it was just hitting the car that loud. And it didn't last. I mean, it lasted for about an hour, but I was sitting in the car and I was feeling so bummed because like you said, my expectations of the day were just the kids were going to have so much fun together. They were going to ride rides for the first time together. They were going to build this memory together. And we were going to build this memory too, right? Like for me, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. His first time in a amusement park. He's going to love it. And it just was so opposite. And it just was such a bummer. And those expectations, especially when you have kids, you have to learn to be looser with, I think, because
Mm.
you can build something up all you want. It's never going to go the way you expect it to go, especially with children, because they are, it's going to go how they want it to go. And most of the
Yes.
time, they don't even know how they want it to go.
No.
So, so, yeah,
He's
my mom moment is a little bit more sad, but also just to like let you know, if you ever have a moment where you're like, why didn't I just get to daycare? You're not a bad mom. You still love your kid. I still love my kid. I just at that moment didn't really like him so much.
You know what? That's fair. It's a fair thing. And to you know what? To be even more fair, I don't think he liked you in that moment.
Yeah. No.
All day.
No. All day. I mean, I guess if
So
you want to put it this way, like we definitely rode a roller coaster today. Maybe not in the amusement park, but the emotional roller coaster.
it was
That was,
there.
it was there. So, but that's mine. What do you got for us? Do you want to add to the day? Take it away.
Yeah. Yeah. So my day was not nearly as stressful as your day. And this isn't like I feel bad because I know you had a rough day. But we enjoyed kind of like we had like a little girls' day kind of, and it was so much fun. So I can't thank you enough for inviting us and having us come with you with your college tickets and stuff because we had like a girls' day and it was just so great. So as much as yes, I do wish that my husband was there to experience, her first time at a theme park. I mean, it's a mini theme park, but it's still a little theme park. And her first time on rides and stuff. It was really fun to just kind of have that bonding time with the two of us today. I know it was supposed to be a group of us, but we were separated for the majority of the day. But we got there and it was sunny and it was hot. When we got there, we had enough time to walk in, get to where the event was in the theme park. We sat down, we got some lunch for the kids, and um, then right when we were going to get some ice cream, right before we were going to go on the rides, that's when the storm came in, and not just from your son, it was the actual storm that was moving in.
And it
Uh,
came fast.
it
Like
came
it
really fast.
fast. It was
Yeah.
wild.
So luckily, I will say, luckily though, we were prepared where we had the space in the pavilion and we were smart enough to move to a closer table to the stage so that we were away from the outside. But the band kept playing. So I know you guys went to the car, but my daughter and I, we stayed. She ate ice cream. The band was playing, and it was a half hour, maybe a little bit longer than that, 45 minutes, where it was like bad, where it was like, you really can't leave. And then it started to clear up, and we went, and she got on her first ride, and she was the only one on the ride, and it was the little swings, and it was so great. And that started to rain again, and at that point, we took a potty break, which was great. She's kind of at that point where she doesn't like to pee her pants, but like she'll wait to the very last minute to tell me that she's got to go. So if I don't ask, that's when an accident could happen. But she's like 95% potty trained. I mean, she barely even goes at night anymore. So she's doing great. And when she does go, she gets really upset. So the day goes on, and we rode all the rides. I brought her on, the rides that she could go on with me that weren't, the crazy ones or anything. And you guys left, unfortunately. We played some games. We had such a great time. And so we were going to do like two more rides. And so we got into one where I wasn't even sure if she was going to be able to do it or not. Cause she was kind of like right at that cutoff line of like the height. Like I was like, I mean, if you stand up straight, maybe you're tall enough, but if you don't, like, so I just got in line. I was like, all right. And we're standing there and I'm holding her at this point. She's tired. We've been there all day and she's been doing so good. And she starts to squirm a little bit. And I look at her and I'm like, do you have to go to the bathroom? And she's like, no, I not go potty. I'm like, okay. So I like wait like another like couple of seconds, and she's just kind of like she's moving her like lower half, and I was like, you gotta go to the bathroom, don't you? And she's like, no, I not go potty. And then I felt it, and it was warm, and it was just there. Here's the kicker: we didn't really get wet. Her clothes got a little wet throughout the day, but like when it was raining, we were pretty covered. I am entirely dry. And I feel it. I feel the warmth, and I'm holding her, and I'm like, you're doing it now, aren't you? You are. Oh, okay.
I feel
Okay.
like this is the scene from Bridesmaids. It's happening.
Yes, it's happening.
She's just
Literally.
melting into the ground.
This is, this is an honest conversation that I am having with her of, you're doing it right now, aren't you? Yeah. Okay. And because it's like, I'm not bad, but I'm just like, all right, here's the kicker of the whole story. There's a group of people, like, because obviously I'm standing in line to get to this ride that, now we obviously can't go on, and I'm like stuck in the front now. So now I'm like standing there waiting. But as it's happening and I can feel the warmth, this parent, it's a dad, he comes up behind me and he goes, oh no, and he's pointing at it. And I just looked at him and I was like, yeah, I felt it. And he's like, oh no. Like you just like see the sympathy in this man's face of like, I am so sorry, but there's like, I feel bad for you, but there's nothing I can do, but I just want to sympathize with you really quick. Like, I'm like, you've probably been peed onto before. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, so we exited the line, and luckily there was a bathroom right there. But I was like, we were at that like point of the day where I was like, I know she's going to have to go soon. I know I'm going to have to ask her, but I was like, we'll do one more ride. It didn't happen. Luckily, she had a change of clothes in the bag that I had. I, however, did not. So I had to do the walk of shame out of the park.
I feel like, though, if it was me, just based on where we were parked right next to the water park. You should have just ran through the water park really quick, like the splash pad, and be like, I got wet.
I just got wet outside. I swear that did cross my mind. And I was like, you know what, though? that's going to make me more uncomfortable because I'll be even more like wet at this point. But the good news is that like where I was holding her on like my side and kind of like where she was positioned, it only got the front of me. So I was able to at least drive home without like getting anything like in the car. Like I said, she had a change of clothes. So we had gotten her all set. But yeah, I was not even kind of upset. I mean, she felt bad and she said, sorry, mommy. I'm like, it's okay, honey. I'm like, you just have to tell me when you have to go and we'll go right away.
Yeah.
But she felt bad, but I laughed and I called my husband and I was just like, well, we were going to stay for like another half hour. However, I've been peed on.
I've been peed on.
Luckily, it was my daughter and not by someone stranger. I don't know.
Right. I feel like if nothing else, this is a learning moment for all parents to always bring yourself a change of clothes because you never know what could happen. Because not only did it happen to you at the end of the day, a much less gross. When we were getting our food, our son covered my husband in mustard.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, when are we going to learn? We pack them a change of clothes. I feel
that's great advice. And I mean, I had like a sweatshirt, because, I knew the weather was going to kind of be up and down, but I think that's great advice. I mean, and this is also coming from two people that like you and I like aren't really water people. Like we don't really do water rides. This isn't throwing shade on anybody that does. It's just not our thing. And our kids can go and do it and have the best time. Mm-hmm. But I think for people that are maybe like us that are not even considering doing anything in the water, who wouldn't have a change of clothes. So now we know. I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
Always pack a change of clothes first.
Yeah. For everyone involved in the situation.
Everyone. Yes.
But
pack clothes for a stranger. I'm just kidding.
You never know.
Because then that guy could have been like, you know what? I packed extra clothes for you.
I knew these come in handy one day. Yeah, it's a wild ride. And you do your best when you got young kids to like do fun things. But I too really pushes it. And I feel like you felt this back when your daughter was 2. Because I remember having conversations with you. And you want to have these fun memories. And I just need to keep reminding myself, like, even though today didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, that's more my memory and not his, because he's not going to remember his first time at an amusement park just being a disaster from the moment he woke up, right? Like, I'll remember it, but like we can pretend a different time was his first time.
Well, and you know what though? He may remember. I mean, like we talked about, like young memories, like or very
Yeah.
early memories, but his memory of it might be like, oh, I remember when I went on that little roller coaster with my cousin and
Yeah.
it was amazing. Like I remember it was like I remember it being like a turtle and I remember being on it and being like, oh my God, this is so much fun. So like even though your memory of it might have a different feeling, his memory of it might have a better feeling.
Yeah. Because and he did a couple of rides. He did make it through a couple of
and
rides.
he did good.
Yeah.
We do have some good pictures where they're both smiling and having a great time together. And that's what's important. And that's what we need to, we need to focus on the positive, is that at least we got that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't all terrible.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's one of my other favorite things. Like, not only do I feel like, I mean, obviously we have like a best friend relationship. We are, I'm not going to say it's uncommon for sisters to be as close as we are, but we are like genuinely best friends, right? Like,
yeah.
And it's so cool to know, like, I love seeing our kids have this relationship with one another too. They have done so many firsts together.
Yes.
The first time they were at the beach together, the first time they went to an amusement park together. Technically, their first time at the zoo was together, even though he was in my belt.
That's true. That is true.
So it's just like all of these like firsts, and we have all of these wonderful memories that they're going to be able to look back on. And, whether he physically remembers his first kiddie roller coaster ride, being with his cousin or not, like, we're going to have pictures to prove it. We're like, oh, really? You guys did this together. You guys are best friends. Deal with it.
Deal with it. You're best friends. We're going to make you best friends forever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice.
So, but it was an interesting day. And it's funny that one day that was very intertwined had 2 very different perspectives. And I think that also brings us into who our guest is today, because we are going to have a completely different perspective on motherhood from our guest today, because she is a stepmom that we are talking to. And that is a perspective on motherhood that you and I aren't familiar with.
Absolutely. Yep. I think this is going to be a really good conversation and really enlightening, I think, for those of us who are not step parents.
Today's guest is Jessica. She is a mom of 3, and today she will be sharing her experience as a stepmom. She described herself as a stepmom, but has always referred to the kids as her kids. Without further ado, we would like to welcome Jessica to Mom Talk with My Sister. Welcome,
Jessica.
Thank you so much for doing this. This is awesome.
For sure. Absolutely. Glad to be a part of it.
It's going to be fun. We've had a ton of really cool experiences so far. And I'm actually really excited because I have so many questions about what life is like as a stepmom.
So do I.
Ask away.
Yeah. It's like a whole different world. Like, first I had questions about being a mom, and then I became one. And I have even more questions about being a mom now than I did before. Such a confusing world, but definitely a whole different ballgame to be a stepmom. I feel like there's obviously you're still a mom, right? But it's just like there's so many little nuances that I feel like you have to probably deal with that we don't as, biological mom, I guess. So if you want to get started, can you just tell us like the basics of like your life and your lifestyle before you met your husband, before you had kids?
Sure. So I started dating my husband back in 2007. Prior to that, I had dated some other people that had kids, but they were kind of the relationship where we would have them maybe one day a weekend or something like that. It was definitely not a situation where the kids were with us all the time or more often than they were not. So when I started dating my husband, he had three children, and the two oldest were had one mother, and the youngest one had a separate mother. So not only did we have to kind of blend that, but there were kind of two other families that we had to consider with everything that was going on there.
When you first met the kids, like, did you feel welcomed by them, or did you ever have feelings of like discomfort, or like that they didn't want you around, or did they always seem very welcoming and open to the fact that you were going to be in their life now?
Um, I think it was, it took a little bit. My husband was in a previous relationship, and the kids um, liked his ex. She's not a mother of either of the children. They dated for, a short time. So I think for a while it was, they really liked her and didn't really know me and who is this woman and that sort of thing. So it did take a little bit for them to warm up to me. But I think initially we, just kind of worked into it and did fun things with them. And I, made sure to go see their games and their concerts and their, important events in their life and show them that I was going to show up for them and I was there for them and just another person to root them on and be there to help. I think initially it wasn't like, it's not like I met my husband and we said, okay, we're getting married. And, so I mean, there was some time where it was, everyone kind of feeling each other out.
Right. So when you started dating your husband and you realized it was, becoming more serious, and you moved on to talking about marriage and getting married, um, what was like your initial thought of, okay, I'm gonna be a mom now, right? Like was that did that play into your decision to move forward with your husband at all?
Obviously. I mean, I had met the kids pretty early on, and had quite a bit of interaction with them and, time spent with them. I think, I have definitely seen some kids that I would never sign up in a million years to step parent. Um, our three were pretty good kids. I mean, they all, obviously all kids have their moments, but it was definitely something where I was like, okay, I can see myself parenting these kids, co-parenting with the other families, and kind of getting through day to day life and raising these kids. So for sure, it was definitely something that went into a lot of thought.
Now, Justin, you mentioned like the co-parenting that like actually leads us like into another really good question. Do you feel like you were included in the co-parenting with the other moms, I guess? Or do you feel like they tried to like box you out, yeah, and not include you on things? Or I mean, I know it's a tricky situation anyways, and not for nothing, us women can, sometimes be tough, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, right from the beginning, my husband let the kids know, if it came from my lips, it was just as if it came out of his mouth. So it wasn't going to be a situation where it was, well, Jess said no, let me ask dad. They knew that if I said no, he was also going to say no. So as far as in our household, it made it easy to do everything, if whether it was asking them to take the garbage out or, telling them no, that they couldn't go to a friend's house. I always knew that whatever I said, it wasn't going to be 30 seconds later, they were doing what they wanted because they went to dad and he said yes. As far as the other moms, it was definitely not easy. I think there was a lot of animosity there, and it was hard to kind of deal with that. Sometimes they resented me for trying to parent and do certain things, when in reality, all I wanted was to raise good kids and be the best extra bonus mom that I could be.
I love that. I think it says too a lot about your husband and your relationship as well. With him, saying like, this is, we're parenting together, and like, having your back essentially. Like, I just think that's like good foundation for a good experience.
Absolutely. So much respect, mutual respect, like my kids are your kids, right? Like,
Yeah.
and having your
Yeah.
back, knowing that you want the best for the kids as well. So you're not going
Mhm.
to, say anything or do anything that he would question, right? So him having your back, that is really great, because I think sometimes that can be a very slippery slope with, step parent, primary parent, interactions.
Agreed.
Do you feel, speaking of like the kids and you having like what you said your husband backed you on, and do you feel that the kids ever treated you differently, or did they ever try to push their boundaries with you?
For sure. There was, a couple times that, they would be upset with me over something and, throw out the, you're not my mom, I don't have to listen to you sort of thing. Um, I definitely think they tried, which, I think in some situations they try with, every kid tries with every parent. Do I think there was probably a little bit more of that? Yes. But I think all in all, like, they were good kids and, you know, did what we asked them to do.
Do you feel like when they would say something to you like, oh, you're not my mom, like, because you see that in like movies and TV shows and stuff, where then it's like, it's either really dramatic, like, or it's something that's just like, yeah, whatever, like, I don't care. Like, how did you feel when they would say something like that to you? Because that, like, as an adult, like raising kids now, that would like crush my soul. And like I said, you see it on movies and stuff, and you're just like, is it really that bad, or is it like something where you're just like, if they're just being dramatic, you're like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, I think, especially with our kids, it was a little bit different with each of them. So with our older two, having full custody of them, that was definitely a rarer statement. So when they said it, like, I think it hurt more. And I just felt like I had more responsibility in parenting with them. With the youngest daughter, she said it often. And I think she had trouble dealing with the fact that she had both a mom in her life and, me as a stepmom. So with her, it was just kind of like something that she just said. So, kind of rolled off my back sort of thing.
So you have your stepchildren now, you're married to your husband, you have your stepchildren, you're raising them. Did you and your husband ever talk about having your own kids together?
So initially we did. Um, my husband had a vasectomy after his youngest daughter. So obviously there would be some work that would have to be done to, kind of finagle that. But it was something that we did discuss early on. I would say probably after we were together, about a year and a half, 2 years, we just both kind of decided that, we really liked where our life was at that point. The youngest was 8 when I came into with their lives. So, at that point she was 10, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like, do we want to start over? Can you imagine having a baby? Like, we have a little bit of freedom. They can kind of watch each other and keep an eye out if we go out to dinner, if we, go do something. And obviously if we have a baby, that's, a lot more consideration to, what that all looks like, not to mention the cost and who's going to watch this baby during the day, because the other kids are at school. So, you have to have some sort of daycare, that sort of thing. So it was definitely something we had talked about initially, but then within a couple of years had decided that that was no longer what we were interested in.
That's understandable. I would imagine the calendar would have gotten even like bigger. Like, you need one of those like full wall calendars for who is where. And then you had a baby in the mix and you're like, I don't even know what my name is anymore.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
I have a full wall calendar. It is
You do.
huge. It's very large. And I still don't know where I am most days. And I only have one. You
And you
have
only have one.
three. So like throw in a fourth, and a 10-year age difference. That's a significant age difference,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah,
that
definitely.
that's also something to think about. I think, my husband and I, we talk about whether or not we want to have a second. And one of our big things is what is the biggest age difference that we want, because we're not ready to have a second. And, Amanda and I are 5 years apart and we're best friends. So like it works. But my husband and his brother are 5 years apart and they talk on holidays. So it's like, which is not a problem, you know what I mean? But it's just like you're flipping the coin with an age difference like that on what kind of a relationship can be formed between your siblings, and whether or not they're going to like each other, or the older one's going to resent the new one because they're going to understand what a baby crying in the middle of the night is a lot more than like a 4-year-old, right? So
And
that's
I
really
definitely think that that would have been amplified with stepchildren. The fact that these three were all older, now we bring a baby into the mix that is quote unquote ours biologically. And, that's going to create its own resentment and sort of things that, I think we're just, we were happy not to have to worry about that.
That's such a great point. I didn't even think about that part of it.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say the same thing, Amanda. Like that definitely is a tough situation, because you hear about siblings that are, one of my best friends, she's the only one from her parents. And they each have kids from other marriages, and it definitely has caused some tension, and not always, but it feels different sometimes for the kids. So I think
Sure.
that's
Yeah.
definitely something to take into consideration that I had never thought of before.
So, Jess, do you think that your definition of what a stepmom is has changed since you, because like I feel like when you're a kid and you think of like Disney movies and like the evil stepmom, right? And then like all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, you are now a stepmom. And do you think that your opinion before being a stepmom changed into like what it being an actual step, like quote unquote stepmom is?
Absolutely. I think growing up, I had friends that were divorced and, their fathers had gotten remarried. And it seems like all the stepmoms were people that, I would never want to be, or, people that just weren't very nice to the kids. The other thing I think is, you know, usually you think about it and the mom usually has primary custody. So I think that creates a very different relationship if you're a step parent in a situation where you have every other weekend or you have, every Friday night or something like that. I think there's less bond to be formed, um, and more kind of resistance. And obviously, as the kids get older, they don't want to go every other weekend to their dad's house. They want to stay with their friends and, do that sort of thing. Um, so I think, especially with the older two with having full custody, um, I'm really happy with the relationship that we have and that kind of was generated from having them 12 out of 14 days in a 2-week period.
Yeah, I feel like that does make a significant difference, right? Like, and again, something that we've never had to think about because, our parents were together our whole lives. And then, now we don't have stepchildren. And, um, so the closest that I have is my husband, his dad remarried, but they were all adults. So it was like, I mean, adults, I say loosely, they were 18. Brian, I think, was 18 when his dad remarried. And his stepbrother was the same age as he was, and they were 18. So they were still adults, um, and it's a completely different, situation when you're an adult and your parent remarries. We understand that one, Amanda.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
our dad just remarried. So um, but
Same here. My dad remarried. I have 3, step siblings. But it was, I was, gosh, in my late 20s when they married. So,
so
definitely different.
let me ask you this, because I feel am so like I love my dad's wife. Like she's great. She really is. And but she has 3 kids and her kids are much younger than us. Um,
Yeah.
but like I don't know, and not to be like mean, but I don't consider them my step siblings. Whereas like Ryan's brothers, we consider them step siblings. And like What did you do with that when you were in your you said your late 20s and your dad remarried and
Mhm.
you do you
Yeah.
consider them step siblings? Do you have like a close relationship with them?
So I've actually never met them.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Um,
there we go.
to be fair, my father and stepmother live in Kentucky. So they used to actually come up here every summer and spend quite a bit of time with us, which was nice. But the couple of times that we have been down in Kentucky, the kids were not around. I don't think that they're very close with my stepmom and with my dad, with the exception that now one of them has actually moved back in to their home. So but I honestly have never met them. But I do like, I talk about them as I, I guess it's weird because like I don't buy them Christmas gifts. I don't ever talk to them sort of thing. But, if somebody asks like, oh, do you have siblings? I talk about my sister and then I have, three step siblings. Um, and I guess similarly, my mother has been long term dating a man that has two kids. I don't call them my stepbrothers or stepbrother and sister, but they're there.
This could be like a whole nother episode in itself
Right?
because it's the same for us where, our dad just remarried. Our parents were together for literally 30 years.
Mhm.
Then they divorced and they started seeing other people, and um she has three of her own children, and then our mom is dating somebody very long term, and he has two children. And I'm with you, Bethany. Like I don't ever talk about them. I don't ever like, but I think it's still new for us. Like, Jess, you are saying that like this happened in your early 20s. And so it's been a little bit of time since then, like or late 20s, I'm sorry, late 20s. But like, and like for us, like, I mean, this is fresh. This is like last couple of months fresh. So even though they've been dating for, quite some time now, I still like, I don't think about like when people ask me about my siblings, there's nothing in my head that even goes to any of those other children. It's weird.
No, it is
And I
weird.
don't mean it disrespectfully. I don't think
Yeah.
about it.
But realistically, nowadays it's so much more common to have blended families and, to have step siblings, step parents, step grandparents. And I think that, having that dynamic it's so different for so many people. And, your experience is definitely not going to be the same as somebody else's experience. But I think that, your take on those kids are your kids. That's such an amazing way to look at it because I also know that there are some step parents out there that go into this situation. They're like, you're not my kid, you're not my problem. And that also is a completely different form of like quote evil stepmom, right? There's the ones
Yeah.
who are just mean, and then there's the ones who are just like, I ain't dealing with you. Bye. So it's like it's really awesome to just like hear your take on how involved and how much you you made an effort to be in their corner and to show them like I'm not here for anything more than to be another person in your corner. And I think that's great.
Yeah, it's really well said, Bethany.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
What was your favorite part of being a step? And it's kind of a broad question, but like, do you have a favorite part?
Um, I think just like the everyday moments, like just being with them, to hear about their days and to make their favorite dinners and to help them with homework and go to their games and their concerts. And, that was probably the best thing, just being there.
Just being a mom.
I love that.
Yeah.
And just being a mom too, like that's not like, I mean, I don't even really love the term stepmom, but that's
Right.
like you're being a mom and you're being a good person and you are instilling good life lessons like on the kids, just bringing that positivity. Um, so I was going to ask, based on your experiences, do you have any advice for any other stepmoms, soon to be stepmoms, possible stepmoms, anything like that, that you could now give going, in from not being a mom to all of a sudden, bam, you get married to your mom?
I think, just love the kids and every kid's different. All three of ours were very, very different. What they needed was different. Just kind of get to know them and, be the best person you can be for them. Um, I just think just be there. That's, these kids didn't ask to be, you know, a product of a divorce, and they didn't ask to be, a product of, having a stepmom, that sort of thing. So I think, just kind of making it as easy for them as it can be and just seamless and making them, welcome in the home and making that their home and just making them feel loved every day, I guess.
I love it. And I love the fact too that you even mentioned, the kids didn't ask for this. And that's such a good thing, I think, for people to remember, because adults are adults. Adults do adult things, make adult decisions, and it does have an effect on the kids depending, on who their caregiver is. And so I think having that understanding, always having that like somewhere, whether it's the forefront or the back of your mind, like just knowing and keeping that in mind is such good advice. Like, kids didn't ask for this, so I need to make this the best possible experience I can, not just for myself, but for them.
The other thing I think is important is to not badmouth the other parent. Everybody has their different ways of doing things, and that was always something that we tried our hardest not to do in front of the kids. My husband and I would definitely have our own conversations about things that we didn't think were appropriate, or I can't believe this happened, or this person did this or didn't do this or didn't come to this. But it was always something that we didn't do in front of the kids. I just don't think they need to hear that.
Well, and I think that kind of goes back into they didn't ask for this, right? Like that, none of us asked for our parents. We are born to the parents that we're born to. And some people are really good people and some people aren't so good people. And that's not our fault. And I love that, what you had said, they didn't ask for this, that Amanda pointed out was the exact same thing that really stood out to me. Because, from the beginning, no kid asked for who their parents are, and being supportive and understanding of that and not bad mouthing the other parent is huge. Because that happens with biological parents, and that's something I think we can all learn from, and we can all try to take with us, moving forward as parents and people. Really, just watch what you say. There are certain things that don't need to be said, especially in front of children, because they're growing and they're learning, and it's not their fault. None of this is their fault. That's really good advice.
Really good advice. Yeah, I really like that.
So I think that if you're comfortable with it, we can move on to our fun Ask a Mom segment.
This is my favorite part of the show.
So
I think I'm ready.
Okay. Yes. So Ask a Mom is really quickly, it is a short segment where we have people who do not yet have children of their own. They submitted questions to us. We spin a wheel that is broken right now. Not really sure what's going on with it. We're going to do our best. And I know the three of us will take turns answering a random question. And we're going to get each other's take on it. And we're going to answer a question from one of our listeners. So hang on. I'm not going to move. All right. I'm going to do my best here, guys. This will be
okay.
We landed on question number 16. Okay. Question number 16 is from Lindsay. Lindsay is 31, and she does not know if she wants children of her own. Lindsay's question is, do moms really hide the good snack from their children, like how it's portrayed in TV shows and commercials? For example, secretly hiding in the bathroom eating Oreos, or telling your toddler it is a healthy snack while you munch on a candy bar. If so, do you ever feel guilty of it?
This is unbelievable, and I'm so happy about this question.
This is a wonderful question. I have my answer.
I also have mine. Jess, do you have yours?
I do have mine.
Okay. Who wants to start?
I don't know, Jess, you're the guest. Why don't you decide who starts?
Bethany starts.
Okay, my answer is absolutely yes. Yes, I will stick my head into the refrigerator and shove food in my mouth. And if my baby comes running around the corner, I'm like, what? What? Do you need something? Nothing to see here. Like, and then if he sees me, like, I don't know, if I'm in the refrigerator, most of the time it's cheese. If he sees me shoving cheese in my mouth and he's like, cheese, cheese, and I'm like, or he'd be like one piece, but like that's it. Can't spoil your dinner. Like I do it all the time. I will 100% hide to eat the good stuff. And do I feel guilty about it? No. No, I do not. A, I'm slightly selfish and I want the good snacks to myself. B, I don't want him to have my bad eating habits. So no, I don't feel guilty. I would rather have him crave blueberries than Milky Ways because I crave Milky Ways. That's my answer.
Random candy to crave.
I know. I don't know why. Like I go through like ups and downs and like phases of what candy bar I want. And right now it's been Milky Way. And I don't know why.
Okay. All right, Jess, you go. You go.
All right. I will definitely say that we did hide snacks from the kids. I would actually hide like the good candy, the Reese's and the Almond Joys and all that stuff in our bedroom. And if there was candy in the house, it was things that I didn't want and it was down in the kitchen. Now the kids are out of the house and I hide things from my husband. So definitely a learned experience. It's fine though. No big deal. I don't feel guilty. You need things every now and then. And you know what? You deserve it.
I love that. That is such a perfect answer. She's like, I have practice and now I can use this on my husband.
And I've gotten really good at it too.
I was gonna say, you find those good hiding spots.
Yes, I believe that.
Yeah. Or I would take like the good snacks to work and, leave them in my drawer at work. So definitely nobody was stealing them there.
Until I started working with Jess. And then, hey, Jess, what do you got in your drawers?
You got those Reese's, they're my favorite.
Yeah. Ooh, that's tasty.
That is good. Jess isn't here today. She won't mind.
Amanda opens your desk drawer and she counts. She's like, all right, there's 5 left. So if I eat one, I'll just replace it with one tomorrow. She'll never know.
She'll be fine. She'll never know.
All right.
So my answer is also yes. However, we don't really like I don't have anything like specific hidden that she doesn't know about. But what I will say is that we had the Memorial Day parade or whatever a while ago, and she got more candy at that parade than she has at any Halloween. I mean, we've only started really trick-or-treating last year, but she got twice as much candy at this parade, and it's in our little Mrs. Kasha Davis bag. Shout out Mrs. Kasha Davis. But it's funny. The reason I say that is because I have it up in a cupboard in the bag, and we used it for potty training. She's decently potty. She's mostly potty trained now, but we use it for potty training. So now every time that she goes to the bathroom, she goes, Mrs. Kasha Davis gives me candy. And I'm like, you are so extra. I can't even so she knows where it is, and it is hidden away and it's out of where she can't get to it. So obviously I don't feel guilty about that. But what I will say is this question reminds me when we were kids, our parents, yes,
bring this up.
Our parents, and this is as we were younger, but not our we have toddlers now, so around your kids' age when you became a stepmom. Our parents came up with the forbidden cupboard, and they would put, because snacks are expensive, but they would put all of the good really good snacks, like
The
the
zebra
oatmeal
cake,
cream pies and the zebra cakes and like all of like the
the
good stuff that were supposed to go in our
Doritos.
lunches, the Doritos, everything would be in the forbidden cupboard, and you were not allowed to go in the forbidden cupboard. So it's kind of like what it is for my daughter, like where she knows where it is, but it's like it's the forbidden cupboard.
Dude, the forbidden cupboard was real, but like our brother, he was a growing boy, right? So they say, and homie would eat all the snacks. And I can't even blame this just on him because let's be real here. I don't know, Amanda, if you were home. I think you might have been moved out or in college or something when this happened. But mom bought it, toaster strudels were on sale, buy one,
Oh,
get one free.
I was still in high school and I remember this.
And
Go ahead, you
so
tell the story and then I'm going to tell my reaction to the story.
So mom didn't buy the toaster strudels very often because they were expensive. And so but when she bought them, you just couldn't get enough of them. My brother and I ate 6 toaster strudels a piece in one day. In one day. We just hammered the boxes. So this is not just a him problem. This is also a me problem. Hence why I shoved my face into the refrigerator to eat food. Um, but we hammered, and mom was so mad. She was like, I just bought those. That is why the forbidden
I
cupboard existed.
remember talking to mom on the phone because I used to babysit them in high school. And I remember talking to mom, and I was such a judgmental asshole. Like, but I was like, this is when Amanda was like, I'm just like better than everyone. Um, but I remember talking to mom, and she was so mad. And I was like, Mom, they're so gross. Do you realize how many calories and how many grams of fat they just ate? Like, I was like, Mom, there's like 60 plus calories and like one or like a half of one of these. I remember specifically having this conversation with mom. She was so furious. Like she was furious at you guys. And I just remember thinking you guys were disgusting. But here's the thing. Here's where I've come in life is now if there were toaster strudels in my freezer, I'd for sure eat the whole box of them.
Nice.
I was the worst.
Dude,
I
you
will
had
say
your
it's not. It
moment.
wasn't snacks. But I would. We had a growing boy, and my goodness, when he ate, he ate. So I would buy a lot of food from Aldi's and stuff, and have that in the freezer for his quote unquote afternoon snack, which was more like 2 meals for a normal person.
Yes.
And then we actually had another freezer that was on the front porch that's where I would put like all like, I don't know, the better quality food and like steaks and things that we're like, you're not eating this. Like this is for a real dinner or, definitely not for you to eat 6 at a sitting. And
Right.
we actually had a sign on the freezer, like, do not open this freezer and take anything from this freezer.
I feel
I
like there should
would
also
love
be an
that.
inventory clipboard with a pen. Like
Yes.
we need to start keeping
That would have so
inventory.
been me. Yeah.
I feel like I'm learning for my future because
Right.
my son he is definitely a growing boy. He is going to eat me. If he's anything like his dad, who wakes up in the middle of the night every single night to have a midnight snack, which sometimes is a bowl of cereal and sometimes is a full turkey dinner. Like he will eat. I was so mad, guys, the other day. This is real. Sorry, side note. But the other day, it was Monday because I was working remote. So Sunday, I made homemade pad thai. There was extra, there was leftovers. One was packed up for his lunch, one was packed up for my lunch. I woke up in the morning, I opened the refrigerator, and there's no pad thai. And I texted him and I said, did you take both of the pad thais for lunch today? And he goes, oh no, I ate one last night for my midnight snack. I was like,
Oh my God.
bro, that was my lunch. Like, so if my kid is anything like his father, I'm going to have an inventory clipboard and spreadsheet, and I'm going to have a freezer like that. I like this idea, Jess.
I like that idea too.
Yeah.
It's
Or
the
something
forbidden
that has like
freezer.
a taser on a certain shelf of the refrigerator that if they touch something, they just get jolted.
That's it. That's the
The
move right there.
ultimate forbidden cupboard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Taser.
It's for the freezer, it's the forbidden freezer.
Oh, the forbidden
Mm-hmm.
freezer. I'm liking all of these
Love
ideas.
Love it.
We're doing it.
I love
Awesome. Well, I think that wraps us up for tonight. Do you have anything else you wanted to add before we go, Jess? Words of
I
wisdom?
think I'm good.
Good?
Yeah. Can't think of anything.
Awesome. Thank you again so very much for doing this, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Jess.
This was
Yeah.
fun.
Have a great night.
You
Right,
too.
you too.
Bye.
Bye. That's so good. It's not my
Just
fault.
call him Daddy.
Just call him Daddy. Oh God! You know what's funny? I'm driving Daddy's truck to work tomorrow, and I will be driving it to work tomorrow.
Oh my God, I'm dead.
Please note, the views and opinions shared by our guests are just that, opinions. They do not necessarily reflect our own views on topics discussed. So please keep an open mind while listening, as nothing about our podcast is meant to be hurtful or exclusive. Thanks for joining.